Hello, ladies, and welcome to episode 81. I am so happy that you are here. I'm super excited for today's guest, and I really hope that, regardless of how you stumbled upon this podcast, you take the time to not only learn from our guest, but also to take some notes on, the tools and the tips that she's going to give you, regardless if you're still in the military as active duty, or you're transitioning, or you're just struggling to figure out what you want to do with your life other than just focus on your career 24/7. And I want to encourage you to take this time to just spend it, with us and really welcome us either through in your car or while you're doing some cleaning or just spending some time learning through these podcasts. So, with that, I want to introduce you to Amanda Huffman. She is an Air Force veteran, and I'm going to formally introduce her here really shortly, but kind of giving you all a backstory of how I really got to know Amanda even before she even knew that I knew her. And that was through her blog, through, just searching, military women on Google on, what we're doing and, really trying to understand if there was anything out there for me at the time. And I ran into her blog and I'm like, oh, she's an Air Force lady. And, I just got really intrigued on, her story as a mom, as a leader in the Air Force, and also, her journey through podcasting. So, I knew her before she knew I knew her. And I really have connected with her through her sharing the stories of other military women. And I just love that she is doing that and she's done that in such a flawless way. And also through LinkedIn, through social media and the things that she's doing and, continue to encourage the women community. So I'm just so grateful and thankful to have her. And with that, I'm going to read here what Amanda had to say regarding her bio. And Amanda served in the Air Force for 6 years as a civil engineer, including a combat deployment to Afghanistan. When her first son was born, she traded in her combat boots for a diaper bag to stay home with her son. Shortly after leaving the military, she began her blog, Airman to Mom. Today, she is a mom of two boys, a Space Force spouse, and the author of Women of the Military, the host and creator of Women in the Military podcast. And she is passionate about helping women as they consider a career in the military. Welcome, Amanda.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, and I just love how you said that you really exchange your traded your combat boots to a diaper bag. That is so funny and cute because I can totally relate to that when I first started active duty as an army officer, and I was just like, what am I doing in either world, right? Like I was so confused, but I loved how you kind of said, this is what I'm going to trade because of this one thing or this, now your new career, right? As a mom. And I think that sometimes we take that for granted because we just don't know enough of it. And I love how, you kind of make it, you dress it up in a beautiful way, the beauty of being a mother and also a service member because it's a lot. We're doing so many things. We're trying to figure out, this whole leadership and own job in the military, but we're also trying so hard and desperately to learn to be a mom and how to keep up with that and, how to learn from that as well. And, are we taking the right route, right? Are we doing it correctly? Because I think that that's what we do as innately as women. We want to know that we're doing it quote unquote the right way. So, I'm so happy that you're here. And your last sentence that you said that you're passionate about helping women as they consider a career in the military. That's also, another beautiful thing that has stood out to me because I wish you were available to me when I was young, when I
I
was in high school.
wish I was available to me.
Yeah, it's, I love that you are so focused on the younger community because, the resources out there aren't any for women, for young, ladies that are considering this career, this new passion that they possibly, kinda had through a JROTC program or just through their family members or other people that they know or see on social media. So, I love that you're doing that, and, I wanna start us off with asking you, where did this begin for you?
So I started my blog when I left the military because I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and I was like, it'll be so fun and so easy. And then it was not easy, and I needed an outlet for me. And so that's why I started my blog. And it was more of a hobby blog. I didn't really know where I was going or what my focus was, and I definitely did not wanna focus on military stuff. But my military stuff that I did talk about resonated the most, and I tried to be a travel blogger, a mom blogger, a military spouse blogger, and a natural birth blogger. I tried a lot of things, and I did a series in 2017 about deployments, and that series ended up being almost all women who talked about their experience of deploying, and their stories were so fascinating. I was like, well, I want to know more about women in the military. And so I decided to shift my focus from kind of being all over the place and started focusing on sharing more of my experience of transitioning. And the way I got to start to help women join the military is one of my business coaches at the time. She was like, how early in the process can you help someone? Because originally my focus was helping someone through the transition. And then
Mm,
I realized, no, I can help them before they're even out of the military. I can help them before they're even in the military, and so that was where I created a Girl's Guide to the Military, and then, the podcast and other resources have just followed on.
love it. Love all of it. And you're right. I think, and let me backtrack a little bit here. So you started by saying that you started blogging in different little like niches, right? And this is a great moment for all of you listening, ladies, that there isn't a one way or where you start. There's always going to be little things that you have to test out and try out, right? Like, and I think that we learned this, through basic training. For those of us that went through basic training, there are so many ways to get the mission accomplished. There's so many ways to learn how to shoot a weapon, right? Like there are so many ways for you to, get better at running, get better at doing your setups or whatever it may be. I know the Air Force is a little different than, the Army and the Marine Corps. So I know there are different things that we consider, but it really just shows that no matter what it is, you are willing to test something, fail at it, or decide or even learn that that's not your passion. That's not what you are possibly, putting out there that's resonating with people. And I think that when you take the time to do that over and over and find that one thing that you're like, wait a minute, my business coach said or asked me this one question, and here's where I'm at now, right? And again, to really caveat on also the value of coaching, either through business coaching, through parental coaching, really any coaching that allows you as the individual to see what is really going on in your mind that we haven't really acknowledged really is super beneficial. And I love that you did that, Amanda, because you did it in so many ways that I think a lot of us try and we just don't move the needle, and we get discouraged and we kind of stop there. But I'm just so thankful and grateful that you didn't stop, and you found that avenue through blogging, through podcasting, and now you have a guide, and you are taking these young individuals through a process that you and I wished we had. I mean, we I was completely lost, not sure how lost you were, but I was like, "Where do I sign up? How do I start? What do I need? Who can I talk to about this?" And even so, when you're in it, right? Like when you're in basic training or in that first initial training that the military takes you through, you're still kind of like, "Can somebody help me?" And the resources that we have available in the military, they're all based and focused on males, right? On our counterparts, the other majority. So, I'm just so grateful that you took that step and,
Yeah.
pretty much hit on there. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I have the Girl's Guide to the Military, and I'm really excited because I've been working on this for a long time, but I actually am I wrote a book, and it's called A Girl's Guide to Military Service: Selecting Your Specialty, Preparing for Success, Thriving in Military Life, and it's coming out in September, so I'm really
Nice.
excited because I can finally talk about it, and this is going live in March, so I'll be able to have it out on there, so
Yes,
but,
absolutely.
all the things that you were talking about, like, fitness and preparing for basic, picking a career field, and then, like, all the different challenges that women face in the military that aren't addressed from a woman's point of view, like finances
Mm-mm.
and getting married and having kids. We don't get a lot of resources about that, and so that's what the book is about, to build on the girl's guide, which is kind of like a short get you started, and then the book goes way more in depth.
I love that. And, I actually have one of my cousins that has been reaching out to me to ask me those questions. And now I'm so thankful, not to say that I don't, want to share with her my experience, but that there's a guide out there that I can share with her and let her know that, hey, this book is going to be available in September. You still have a whole year before you decide if you want to, go at it or not. And, it gives someone that tool, that resource to kind of give them an idea of what that might look like, right? If they do go in, or what it is to expect, the obstacles, the challenges, how it's going to be different. And I think that, having that, will be very beneficial. And for ladies that you are listening and you have family members, friends that are, reaching out to you, because I think that that's where we begin with family members, people that we trust, that we know that are going to tell us the truth. If you have any young ladies that are interested, all the information is going to be in the show notes. So please get that resource guide that Amanda has and be on the lookout for September. I hope it's also in Audible. I'm a big listener, as you know, as a podcaster. So hopefully we're having access to that as well, Amanda. I'm just kind of putting you on the spot here.
I'll have to talk to the publisher, but I just recently started listening to, Audible Books, and I'm like, "Oh, this is amazing."
Yeah.
It's so easy to consume content that way.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, hopefully we can get that, in our ears as well. But tell me a little bit about, I know you went from, like, speaking, now that we're talking about, your second book now, where did that come from? It seems, just kinda thinking in my head that that's something that you had a passion for, writing. So how did you go from speaking to writing and, vice versa?
Yeah, well, I started with blogging, and so I've always been a writer, and I was really afraid to do a podcast. It's kind of funny, but, and, like, my book, the Women in the Military book, is interviews of women who served in the military, and so I did it in written form first, even though the book was released after the podcast started. I did all that work beforehand, and then those written interviews were, like, my backup plan in case I didn't have anyone to interview that week, and
Wow.
then when yeah, and then when I realized that my calendar was full and I had enough women to talk to, I said, "Well, I need to do something with these stories," so that's why I published them through Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP on Amazon, and so I've always been a writer, and the podcast is a new medium for me, which I am also a, like, Strength Finders, a learner, so I love to
Mm,
learn, and so learning how to do audio, and now I'm trying to dive into video, which is scary, but all those things I'm always trying to learn and expand how I reach my audience and how I help people.
yeah, I love that. And I think that you've picked the right platforms, because I mean, everything you're speaking now is like long form content. And I think that that's a beautiful thing, because if they're not listening to it, they're reading it. And if they're not reading it, they're watching it. Right. So I think you're hitting on all the three major things that us humans always want to seek, because, there's things that we want to learn. And I think that, you bring up a great point when it comes to like learning and really knowing what we like, to kind of get us where we want to go in a different way, right? Like for you is serving women in general, military women, but also now moving into serving the younger young lady community, right? That are thinking about the military. And, with the strengths that you do have, that's how you're kind of pursuing that. And I really admire that about you. And, it's very inspiring on how you started. And, I can't remember what episode you're in now with your podcast, but I know it's like in the hundreds somewhere.
Yeah, 171. So
171. Yeah, and, it takes a lot. I just shared this, in my one-year anniversary with Beyond the Military podcast. It's not only, the will and commitment, but really the desire, right, that comes with it, because I know that, when you stop having fun or when you stop enjoying it, it becomes very, um, like, heavy, like, as an obligation. And I think for you, it just seems, based on how I hear not only, some of your episodes, but how everything comes across, as this is your passion, this is what you love to do. And, I love how you said that you're learning the audio and now the video, and it's just taking your passion to a whole nother level and getting out of your comfort zone. And, it's one of the things that I love to share with my clients and even on this platform, there are going to be things that are an obligation to us, right? Or that may feel as it, we have to do. But also, what is it that we want to do, even if it is something that we think we have to do, and being able to determine and identify what we want to do and how that may serve others, I think is key to any success that you may think of either while you're in the military or even before that, right? Thinking about the military, or even as you're transitioning out, because it's going to take some discomfort at the end of the day. I don't care what you're doing, writing a book. I mean, kudos to you. I can barely, take the time to, write out my show notes, my emails, sometimes my LinkedIn posts. So I cannot even imagine, just taking the time to write pages upon pages of, you know, um, of things that you want to express on there. So I think you're doing a fabulous job in the women community. I know that you have been speaking for a while now and, you know, doing now books and guides. I think that is something that a lot of us, are going to learn from, especially our young community. And so with that, I just love that you're working with these young ladies. What is it? Can you share? And again, you let me know if this is something you can share or not. But I did see it on LinkedIn, so I think we're pretty open here. Um, the mentorship program that you're working on. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to mentor some women because they find my podcast, they email me, and then I'm able to either provide resources and answer questions or connect them with other women if like they want to join the Navy and they want to learn about the Navy. I can't tell you because I was in the Air Force. And so I've had a passion to help women who are joining the military, but also to help women veterans because when we leave the military, we can get really disconnected from the military community really fast because,
Mhm.
like, we're a minority, we don't really fit in. We have our lives of being moms or working, and like going to the VFW or the American Legion just seems like, for me, it just seems overwhelming because I have to find childcare and figure out how to get all that stuff. And so I wanted to create a way not only for women who are joining the military to get advice, but also to help women veterans get connected back into the military community. So it's kind of a community project. Mentorship's the theme, but I want to also, from this program, be able to create events where we can connect women veterans with women who are joining the military, women who are in the military, and kind of have it be a cascading effect where a woman who's joining can get help from a woman who just joined, a woman who's considering leaving the military has someone who's just transitioned, and then someone who's transitioned can connect with a veteran and all those things. And so I have big plans and I'm just barely starting and I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I'm trying to take it one step at a time.
I love that. I love that you said it because we do that, right? In our minds, we're like already at the end and we're like, well, wait a minute, let's backtrack a little bit and kind of explain it to everyone else what I'm thinking. And, I love your passion behind it. I mean, it just really shows, the community that you're serving and, why you're doing it. Because I mean, I think we all start because of our struggles and obstacles that we had. But I think that you're taking it just now to a whole nother level with the mentorship program that you have, which by the way, I signed up for because I'm just as excited, coming from the place that you mentioned, like, if you were in the Navy or you're trying to go in the Navy, I can't tell you about that, but I can share my story or my perspective from the Air Force perspective, right? That environment. So I'm just so excited to, possibly connect with other young ladies that are eager to learn more about, my specific experience in this industry and this specific job. So I want to applaud you for already, taking the first step and getting it together because that's the hardest part. I mean, I think that getting started is where we all kinda, trip ourselves around and, kinda allow the mind drama to come in and not just allow ourselves to, let's see what we really need to do, get the facts together, get the timeline, and, kinda go from there. So I applaud you for that. And, one thing here is, we're wrapping up, this episode, and I want our audience to learn more about not only what you are planning to do, but also what can you share with us, about, something that you want to encourage us based on, it's Women's History Month. I believe in encouraging other women, and I know that you do too. So what can you give us to continue to encourage women to not only find the resources, find you and kind of learn from it, but also to continue to share that with others?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is to start where you're at and to do what you can. Like, I just talked about the mentorship program and my big dream of what I want it to be, and I have no idea how to get there. But like you said, the first step was I had to start like letting people know and start collecting names so that I could create this mentorship program and then run into challenges and take the next step after that. And sometimes people think like, "Oh, you're doing so much," but they don't realize like how many hours over years of time has gone into my platform. And I also started writing 5 minutes once a week, and then I've slowly built over time and as
Mm,
kids have gotten older. So like maybe right now all you can do is work on your business idea for 5 minutes once a week. That's not a bad thing. Like
I love
start
that.
there and then just keep building and then take one more step and one more step, take courses, get involved with community, build your LinkedIn network, but just take one small step forward and don't worry about where you want to be. Like where I want to be and where I'm at, I still have a lot of big dreams, but I only can take like one step from where I'm at now, and I could get really overwhelmed. I did for a long time about the mentorship idea. I was like, I don't know how to get there. So I just not start, but you have to start and take one step at a time.
I love that. I really love that. And it's so true, right? Because I think we're already driven the way we have wired ourselves through either, being in the Air Force, or the Navy, and the Army, and the Marine Corps, and the Coast Guard. I know that the biggest common factor there is that it's a 100 and a mile environment. Like no matter where you're stationed, we're always focused on the next thing and how do we get there faster and quicker. And I think that you brought up a great point. Even if you start with 5 minutes, even if you do it every other day, once a week, once a month, as you see this coming, and you kind of continue to see your progress and your growth, not only within what you're trying to build or create, but really within you, right? I think we all go through this growing and learning process as we're doing it, even if it's messy, even if it's, quote unquote, the wrong way. But I want to thank you, for sharing that and for sharing everything that you're doing with the women community and, to just give us a little piece of what your kind of world is and also to encourage us because again I am a true believer in the more women that come together and learn from one another, the better we're going to be, the more successful, the more powerful we're going to be as a group, especially in our small military community. So thank you again, Amanda, and please let our listeners, know how they can find you.
My favorite place to hang out is LinkedIn. Wendy probably knows that. And you can find me
Yes,
it's Airman to Mom is my, tag, and you can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then
nice.
my blog is www.airmantomom.com.
Awesome, and all of the links that you just mentioned is also going to be linked to this podcast, episode show notes, so if you are not only excited to learn more about Amanda, go check her out. I promise you her podcast is amazing. I'm sure you've, also listened to her if you're listening to this podcast, Women of the Military Podcast, and go connect with her on LinkedIn and kinda see what she has going on the mentorship part, especially if that's something that you think you would want to do and really offer up your time and really invest in the young ladies because I think she's doing a fabulous job with this. And, we want to encourage you to also, play a huge role in this if possible, or just continue to share, the resources that she has to the younger community, to all the young ladies that want to join, that are thinking about joining, because I'm pretty sure Amanda is not going to disappoint you. I've tuned into a couple of her episodes. And like I said, read a couple of her things on LinkedIn. So, again, Amanda, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. And I hope to have you again soon.
Thank you.
All right, you guys will have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye.